going into my basketball. Every time I rock, man, this is how we rap and raw. Peace to my man, now we got the camera out. Every time I spit it, cross over the...
All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu, and you're tuning into episode 32 of the TLOY Talks podcast. Today we have a very special guest here today in the building. I've known him since my time in university, just from our interactions, and now recently he runs his own media platform and talks more so on business, finance, and other stuff too. We have Shayne Mac of the Daily Dose Media Podcast and platform. How are you doing today, man?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right,
How's it?
man. It's been good so far. I mean, we knew each other like since university and all that for the past couple of years, back in like 2017, 2018. And I just know that you have like a lot of like intelligence with what you're doing on right now, and seeing what you have on your platform to speak more on business and finance. It's like very interesting to hear too, like for your sessions and for everything else too. And to speak more on it, tell the audience a bit more about yourself in that sense.
So yeah, like you said, um, I've known you since university, UIT days. We go way back. So yeah, man, just working hard to kind of inform the people, uh, mostly our community, people who are underinformed about social media and finance, just being able to figure out different ways to build passive income, invest in yourself, inspirational media. That's kind of what Daily Dose Media is about. So just getting information out there, educating and informing. So that's kind of one of our basic structures, what we focus on over here. So we like to kind of promote that and ensure people are educated and kind of understand what we're about too, right? So in addition to that, we also focus on marketing and media. So that's another side of the education and inspiration part too. It's like we also focus on getting the information out there in a certain way. So that's also part of the platform too.
Almost definitely. And to speak more about it, tell like the audience like a bit more on like growing up, like where did you, on where you grew up and the environment like for you growing up as well as like your childhood. Would you say it was like a very good experience growing up, or would it be
Yeah,
different?
yeah. I actually come from I'm from Scarborough, so in the East End, Green Bay to be exact. So growing up there, it's a little different. Um, Not different from other neighborhoods around, but different from other communities outside of that. But yeah, it's just being brought up around like-minded individuals who are thinking could be similar to how I'm thinking, or just different perspective. Everybody just has different perspectives. Childhood was good. We had a lot of things to do. Manhunt, we're always doing certain things outside. Um, it's not like today's childhood, honestly. Like everybody's mostly inside, more attached to social media and things like that. But we were outside, so
Nah,
very,
100% too. Yeah.
very
Um,
different.
and just like even like with those environments like growing up, because like back then like in the 90s 2000s early 2010s, it was just like more so having fun being outside and just even enjoying like life in that aspect too. So even during that time until like young adulthood, what were you like growing up?
Yeah, I was very like, I was very athletic. Like we're always on some type of team, always team building with my people. That aspect is really important. So I was always like that. I always like to join different groups and learn, hear different things, travel. So yeah, just being in different places when I was young. Always like
Uh,
to do that. I was always interested in music and media as well. Like when I was younger in JS Woodsworth, our middle school, I was actually on the media team too. So I was like very good with the media, always in assemblies, taking photos, the best photos of everything. Even in my childhood, I always have a camera. So right now I'm
yeah,
working
no,
on the back side. But yeah, media definitely plays a big role in my life.
no, 100%. I definitely agree too. And like, I understand like the idea of like running a media platform. and educating people like on certain topics too. So getting back onto like Daily Dose Media in that sense too, like what inspired you to run that platform and immerse yourself within like the finance and self-help sector in that sense?
Um, like I said, like there's not too many Black media platforms out there promoting the things that I promote, the inspirational content that I promote, the things, knowledge, like the financial aspect, like certain things that people don't really know about, like especially investing. Like it's so key. Like shout out Earn Your Leisure because I was recently um, at an event they had, right? Um, and it was very inspirational, very centered around the same type of thing that I'm doing as well. So they're one of the people that play a big role in that too. So yeah.
Most definitely. And to speak furthermore about that whole like event that happened in Toronto, how was it like meeting Rashad and Troy and like 19 Keys? And even within that experience too, what was it like? Just like going inside the venue, like sitting down and like hearing them like live for the first time, as opposed to like seeing them through like a screen, like in that sense too. Was it like a life-changing experience? Just like even being in their presence in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like even when I was there, like it was like I recorded, but I would try not to record as much because it was just like I'm immersed in a moment, like it's just one of those times where you don't really have to be pulling out your phone too much. But I did, of course, to kind of capture some of the moments. But it's like certain points were just like you had to be there to experience that feeling, the platform, the being around all these young Black creators and entrepreneurs who were kind of on the same level. So it's like level of high level thinking, which is kind of what 19 Keys is on. The whole network is on. So it's definitely good to get them out in Toronto to get that perspective out to all the young Black um, entrepreneurs out here doing their thing and just trying to keep us all motivated, giving us the skills, gave us a lot of great tools we could utilize in our businesses. And, yeah, man, so much keys, much keys.
Yeah, most definitely. And like even like when you met them in that sense too, like did they give you like any advice to yourself and all that on like your goals and like your ambitions in that sense too? Like when you met them?
Yeah, they gave me a couple tips, but that's for me to, you know, that's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, but definitely not. They were super dope people to be around. Got some flicks. We got to chop it up for a little bit and kind of met some um other big content creators and stuff like that in Toronto that were at the event too. So it was like we were able to get that um build that connection from there too. Like we're seeing in these spaces, so you're able to see those other spaces too and interact. So got a lot of good game from a lot of good people. M5 developments was there. King Sold. These guys are off doing some crazy things in real estate and just investing that way. So there was also another gentleman from Nigeria, I believe, and he actually started with one building at Yorkdale and then just kept building his portfolio from there with real estate. So that was also good to see as well.
Yeah.
So they just brought out a lot of great things from that event.
No, most
Vibes.
definitely. Yeah, and I definitely like see like the growth and ambition that people like have like when they come to these events too, because it's more so being like driven to like what they wanted to do in that sense too. And although like your main focus right now is on finance, on business, and in media, initially you were studying criminology alongside with me at UIT too. So was that like the initial goal or idea that you wanted to do like in terms of like a career or job, or did you had like other like aspects like at that time too that you were just like kind of like building in that sense?
In addition to the criminology, I also did a bilingual political science degree as well. So this all goes into what my career focus is, which is working in um, the policy side of um, government and within what I'm doing. But within my business company, this is my media run business platform, what I'm doing. So those are two separate entities. Like that's what my career focus is. And then I got a business side, what I'm doing. So what what ultimately will happen is both of these things flow into each other, because knowing all this information about criminology, about political science, all these type of things is so key in terms of media as well, because you need to know how to analyze these things. And with the perspective I have, it's easier to analyze and understand this information. So they all play hand in hand. So
Yeah, most definitely.
acquiring this knowledge transfers into everything that I'm doing. So the career aspect stays the same and the business aspect is able to continue to thrive based on what I'm doing.
No, 100%. And I definitely like see it like in that sense too. And with running a media platform, there's like a lot of like pros and cons of like running with it. It's just like with timing, being fully invested into it, putting like whatever like amount or worth to it, like on the platform in terms of creating content, putting money into creating like a lot of stuff too in that sense too. So in your experience, how's it like running like Daily Dose Media and creating opportunities and content for others to engage in? Do you feel that it's important for people to understand what's going on in finance and in the world of business? Like I know that you already like mentioned it like before too, but do you feel like in that sense too there is like as much importance as it should be nowadays?
Um, in terms of importance, I think there could be a little bit more importance on it. Like even in schools, like we talk about how they should have those type of key things about financial literacy in schools to kind of make that a little easier of a transition for kids or high school kids coming out of school to know about finances before getting a credit card or being offered things like that, especially in those years of like college, university, and it's so important. So in that term, I don't see them shining a light because they obviously want people to be stuck in that system, right? So it's like you have to find that important. So that's where finding pages like Daily Dose Media, finding stuff like um EYL, finding stuff like 19, finding stuff like Ash Cash, Sleep is for Suckers, David Shands, like just finding this information so you can grow yourself, right? So really key. The importance is what you place on it, right? Like if you want to know about financial literacy, you'll go find the information, right? So the importance lies on yourself.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And in terms of like inspiration in that sense too, who would you consider like your inspirations in your own journey to starting off in like finance and like teaching others about like finance too in that sense? Did you say there was like a handful like of inspirations, or did you feel like you're more influenced by like your own like workings in that sense?
Um, that's just everything. Like I've always wanted to know about finances. I've always been interested since my mom gave me my first debit card. I've always been interested. Like I went and found out about TFSA's mutual funds. I've always been like invested. So later on, it's become so important. So I'm like, I need to kind of show the rest of my friends, my community, my little group about this first, so we can all kind of be on the same page and understand finances. So that's kind of where it started for me. But yeah, I feel like everybody has their own type of financial focus and where they get it from. But mine was kind of just acquired through getting financed by my parents and then able to go through the flow with getting jobs, building up my finances and putting things certain places to watch it grow and then seeing, okay, this grew overnight without me even doing anything. So that's where the big part came in. I'm like, if you have a certain amount of funds, you wouldn't even need to go to work, right? So
Yeah, no, most definitely. And even like in that sense too, like a lot of media platforms, like they'll start off in like certain aspects. So they'll start off small by creating like IG pages or creating like reels on like TikTok and everywhere else too. So how did you start off like the process first in like Daily Dose Media? Like what were like some steps that you did to kind of spread that awareness into making it bigger on like what the platform is today?
um started out just on an Instagram page, took it from there, grew it out. Um, have a Twitter following as well. Took it on YouTube, dropping content on there as well. Um, Daily Dose Network on YouTube, um, Daily Dose Media on Twitter, and yeah, just growing the content from there because it's inspirational. It's content people want to hear. People need motivation and information. So that's where there's a lack. So I'm like, let me come in and start putting out content daily. But the key thing is also, so you don't want to put all your time doing social media stuff. You get tools that's able to help you automate certain things so you can get them posted, and you post content for the month, have a content calendar or whatever, and then you eliminate that time from your schedule so you can go ahead and focus on creating more content for the next month, or just improving content and just working from there, editing, because we're dropping daily move episodes and stuff like that. So just alleviating time places so you can just put it other places.
Yeah,
Help
no,
with
yeah. Yeah, no, most definitely. I definitely like agree too on like the amount of content that you have to post. Like even with the timings too. Like I do feel like timing is very important on when to post certain content. So like maybe having it at like one period on one day and then like another period like on the next section of the day too. And like, limiting the certain posts too, because you could post like a lot of content every other day too, but sometimes too, like the traffic can be like very different like at times in that sense. So yeah.
what God plays into it, like the timing, what you're posting, what hashtags you're using, how long is the video. Instagram dropped a different thing in their algorithm now that tracks how long the people are watching it. Like if they're actually watching it the whole way through, then they'll recommend it more. So you got to make sure your content is engaging, interactive, like something that keeps the people in there. So algorithm plays a big part of today's media. Content level has to be at a certain level, right? So you can keep getting uh, recommended on, get multiple views and of such. So it's just good to keep putting out content because you never know what will stick. So good content.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I'm gonna share the screen right now to share like some of the topics that we have right here. So in one of these things right now, like there's like usually with Chat GPT and all that. So I'm just gonna so this is like one main issue right now with ChatGPT. So this is from like the National Post. So there's like an article that talks more about it this week. The San Francisco-based research laboratory OpenAI released GPT-4, the newest version of a program that allows computers to converse in a human-like way with users. This is like after like the GPT free recently, and then they're talking about like the whole ChatGPT-4 on the whole idea of the alien robot, that can become a car, but more so like a deep learning model too, just like even with the whole texting situation too. So in that sense, right now, how do you feel about Chat GPT like at the moment?
I've heard a lot about this. I actually integrated it as well into certain things within the business. It could be good, but there's like everything that's good, there's also some bad things about it as well. Um, the guy who created the chat GBT actually resigned, and he said he's scared because it's growing at an extremely fast rate that he didn't intend for it to, but it's really growing. A lot of people are using it. A lot of people are adding information to it to, expand its own learning. So it's just, this thing could just keep growing and outgrow us, right? So it can be scary, but it also helps uh, alleviate like the things that you can pass off to an assistant or something of some sort. So
Yeah,
an
no,
AI
100.
system help you, so it kind of takes time away to automate things,
Yeah,
certain
because
tasks.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like in the article it says like it's using it like GPT-4 as a predecessor. So like investment companies like Morgan Stanley is using it with management data, and then also Duolingo for practice conversations, and also with other companies like Price Waterhouse Coopers, to boost productivity among like lawyers and like even with accountants too. So I do feel like it could take over in that sense too. And like I've talked about it with other people, like more so on like what it might do with the music industry too. So it is like very interesting to see like where it could go. But do you feel like it could actually take like jobs from other people, or do you feel like a human would have to kind of take the job to kind of work on that?
It can definitely take people's job. It's already taking jobs like art designers, people who are doing logo design, all that type of stuff is getting replaced. So it's just taking jobs that don't really need to be jobs, actually. So we're in a different time, adapting to the changes. So with adapting time comes things that are going to take over to kind of, uh, it's just making way for new types of jobs, right? AI still needs a controller. AI still needs somebody who's going to run it. So it's not only going to be taking away jobs, it's also going to be creating new ones. So you got to think of it in that sense. So there's a lot of perspectives. People are just scared. It's a new thing. Crypto, when crypto came around and was booming, people are scared. It's a new thing. So this is just society. When new things come around, they're scared until well, they're like, oh, I could actually use this for my business to create um, a marketing ad, or I can use this to help me boost, my engagement with writing tools. I can create a business plan. I can do all type of things. Resume that can help me alleviate time and get me opportunities. So it's all depends what you're
Yeah.
using it for. Yeah, what job you have, because
No, I definitely agree with you 100% too. And to get on with the next subject too, like I know that you know more about like what's going on with Nordstrom. So right now, like there's going to be like there's like recently deals at Nordstrom for the liquidation sales, but they're more so at the lowest rates too, like that aren't like really impressive for many people. So there's no like high like discounts or anything like that too. So in that sense too, the countrywide liquidation sale underwhelmed Canadian shoppers with many items discounted by only 5%. But some experts say that it should not come as a surprise too. So usually with a high end product, and then like so they're also like launching the sales recently. This was like in March, but like it's more so on closing like the store in June and all that. So how did you react to the situation with what's going on with Nordstrom and with big box stores closing down like that?
uh, again, this is just another adaption type thing. Like everything's online. You don't even really need a main store. So they're seeing that the traffic in stores is light and there's more of an online presence. So they don't really need to have as many physical locations. So it definitely makes sense as many other big tech companies and other retailers. Everybody's trying to save money amidst all this stuff going on, inflation. So this is another way to cut costs
No,
and profit.
100% too. And I feel like in some situations too, it has affected like many businesses, but like I think more so on what happened during the pandemic. So basically, a lot of people were doing online shopping too, but there was like situations where people would actually have to go to the stores to test out the clothing and everything else too. And like once the big box stores sort of opened up back when restrictions were more loosened, people had to return certain items. People had to get more new items that would fit like into like their system, that would fit into their type, their body weight, everything else too, or their height. So there is like an importance for people to go to the stores and all that to kind of test out. But as you said too, with the idea of online shopping being more of a thing nowadays, it is understandable on why like it's more preferable that way, with the less need to have actual like physical contact with others, and also with just understanding like the price types and understanding the variety that these stores have in that sense too, like online as opposed to what you could find like at like inside a store nowadays.
Exactly. And these are still like big box retailers, so they're not gonna cut their prices by like 20%, 30%. Like you get the price that you get the product for that and then go sell it for more. So they know the game, and 5% is what they can do currently until they kind of really need to liquidate it. Maybe later will increase to 20 or 15 or something like that. But they're trying to make their funds at the same time still, right? Because cost cutting, but they still want to have profit from the
Yeah,
products they have
yeah.
in the store. So,
Yeah, most definitely. And I do feel like they're setting more of an importance on stores that, people might actually like need, more so on importance. So like with food, basic clothing and everything else too. So like I do feel like they're putting stores like Shoppers and Loblaws and like No Frills in more importance than like other stores as well that are more so for branding, like a Nordstrom or like a Saks Fifth in that sense too. So I definitely see like, more so the changes going on from there.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Good
To
stuff.
speak more, yeah, great talks. Too. We still have a few of these topics left. But how do you feel about like gentrification right now happening in Toronto, and even with examples on like the whole like fare increase in the TDC to only being like free 35, like a ride in that sense too.
Mm. Yeah, man. You can see that throughout the whole world, like inflation is taking um a toll on everybody. So taxes, certain things going up, food, fares, housing, everything plays a role. And see, this is where like the political science part comes in, and I'm able to navigate through like certain these type of issues and policy type things that come into play. But um these things play a key role, like inflation right now, um, because that's kind of taking a turn for everybody. Um, it's like you said, the TTC fares are going up. That's going to cut people's costs, that cut people's uh, your income that they're getting, and it just makes things harder for everybody. But if you are invested in the right things, if you have your funds put away in certain places, if you have real estate, um, certain things are still appreciating, but it's all about the buy time when you got in, when you got it, um, holding knowledge about where to put your funds. So right now is a key time to kind of educate yourself on top of cutting your own costs, like what these big businesses are doing. So I
Yeah.
think that is
Yeah, most definitely. And I think the only thing that I can only disagree on about the whole like fare increase is with the amount of situations going on in the TDC that is kind of like affecting, ridership in that sense too. And even within like the whole cost of living with like, even with Loblaws, with Shoppers Drug Mart, with certain needs, with healthcare products and also with food. As
a
like even
really
with the
big
TDC, I think like because like even with the situation going on with the violence going on in the TDC and everywhere else too, I feel like it is more of a reach to kind of increase the fare for a bit, but I can understand the perspective, but it doesn't really change the fact that people can easily sneak into the TDC for free, like for the streetcars and like for the subway and all that. So it's just kind of like my take right now, just on the idea of the whole fare increase.
yeah, but they've been increasing the fares for a year forever. They always
Yeah,
increase every year. Um,
yeah,
but these fare increases are coming with like the TTC is not even secure anymore. You can't even really just ride the TTC in peace. So you got to be always looking around if you're on the TTC or subway. So mental health, you can see, is serious right now in Toronto. So that's kind of what I feel like should be the focus, because there's a lot of um, mental health crises going on that are not really getting enough attention
most definitely.
on the
We
right thing.
just yeah. Most definitely. We just have these last two questions right here. But do you have any regrets, or you don't have like any regrets at all?
Regrets, don't live with regrets. I just do and live with what happens.
True. And do you have any closing remarks you'd like to say?
Closing remarks. Follow Daily Dose Media. make sure you tap in, subscribe to our YouTube. We're only building collaboration. We want to grow with other like-minded individuals who are on the same level or on the same mindset. Yeah, man, everybody has something they can bring to the table. So collaboration is key. So that's kind of important.
Yeah,
Super
most
important.
definitely. Yeah.
Even what you're
Shit.
doing here,
Yeah.
your platform is super
Yeah.
key. Keep
Yeah, man.
dropping, putting out content.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Really.
Yeah. Shayne, thank you for coming by, man. So for everyone tapping in, it'll be released on all platforms soon. And definitely tap in, enjoy that. This is Josh, also known as Yashu, episode 32 of the TLOY Talks podcast with Shayne Mac of Daily Dose Media, signing off.